This is the Sean Hannity Show podcast.
Stay right here for our final news roundup and information overload.
So we're doing a film for MTV on what it means to be young and white.
Okay. Okay.
If you say the wrong thing, then suddenly you are a racist. I'm trying to be careful here.
I don't want to offend people. I feel like you guys are attacking me now.
If I bring up any sort of race issue with my parents, they immediately assume that I'm demonizing them.
How might your life be different if you weren't white? When you say white, what does that mean to you?
We've never had to internalize what white people have done in America, but here, you can't escape that.
Feels like I'm being discriminated against. You kind of get this feeling that things belong to you.
I'm getting uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
Hey, this is great. Let's get all uncomfortable together.
Damn, nigga, you just got knocked the down. Damn. Come on, baby. I'll just play. You okay? We got one pills off. Get him some water, hey, bounce some water. Hey, everybody curve. Somebody curve. Help him up. Help him up. Get him to the ambulance. He all right. Get him to the ambulance. Someone please call 911. Damn, look at 12. Damn. 12 thick as hell. He just got his ass beat. Damn.
We're trying to get him over here.
Damn.
All right, that was audio from a vicious, brutal mob beating of a white man in Cincinnati as people literally were standing as this guy was beaten bloody and unconscious. The police first reported this as, quote, anti-white, a hate crime. 3 days later, they said, well, no, maybe it's not a hate crime. Now it turns out they're going back to the original reporting on all of this. That's one of many stories making the news. The earlier audio you heard is from a new MTV show that is coming online that's called White People. Apparently, according to the Drudge Report, publicly shaming white people for, quote, what they have done to America. Then you got Bernie Sanders saying America must now apologize for slavery. On top of that, you've got a big issue involving a bakery out in Oregon where literally a family that is Christian is now having to pay $135,000 in damages. And if they don't pay it by Monday, there might be a lien that's put on their home. I don't know how many cakes you can make for $135,000, but apparently you're going to have to be baking a lot of cakes for that to happen. And this was all because they refused to bake a cake for a lesbian wedding. And they said they'd happily serve gay customers for other requests, but they feel that goes against their deeply held religious views. So now this is getting a little bit out of control on every level. And this was for, let's see, the $135,000 was for acute loss of confidence, high blood pressure, impaired digestion, loss of appetite, migraine headaches, pale and sick at home after work, and resumption of a smoking habit, weight gain, and worry. That apparently is why they had to pay $135,000. That's one of the many issues. You have Ariana Grande, who has now issued an apology after being caught on camera saying she hates America. Wow, that's pretty bizarre. Now insisting she's proud to be an American. Anyway, then she's talking about this was comments related to the obesity rate in America. Then in Baltimore, the mayor has fired the black police chief and has appointed a white replacement. Why? Because police apparently don't feel confident to do their jobs in Baltimore anymore. Here to weigh in on all of these issues, Minister Paul Scott. He's the founder of the Messianic Afrikan Nation Ministry. The Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson with the root group Bond, Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. What is the Messianic Afrikan Nation? What is that?
That is a ministry that teaches black liberation theology, or we say African liberation theology, which is the black liberation theology for the hip-hop generation.
So, in other words, that's sort of like Reverend Jeremiah Wright stuff.
It is exactly what Reverend
So the black
Jeremiah
family,
Wright
the black neighborhood, the black this, the black that. Now, if you had a church that replaced all of those incidences where you say it's for the black community, black liberation theology, black, and you replace the word with white, would you say it's racist?
I would say it is a part of white supremacy.
I didn't ask you that. Would you?
Economic reality.
So if somebody has a church and they just replace your word black with white, and you would say that's racist, then why isn't it racist if you say black and don't include white people?
Well, I say white supremacists, but look at the history of how many churches have white pictures of Jesus on their walls and ask the same question, Sean.
So you think a white picture of Jesus is racist?
I think that a white picture of Jesus is not only white supremacist, but it's also historically incorrect.
It's just, okay. Jesse Lee Peterson, you're a reverend. If there was a white church that was looking out for white liberation theology, do you think that church would be labeled racist?
Absolutely. It would be labeled racist by the President of the United States, the Department of Justice, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and everybody else and their mama. White Americans are being discriminated against, and there is a war against white Americans, a race war, Sean, and this has been going on for the last couple of years, started with the knockout games and other events that have taken place. Even that MTV soundbite you just played, that's bullying young white boys and girls. And if that was happening to blacks and Hispanics, no one would allow that to happen, even conservatives and Christians. But it's a double standard when it comes to white Americans. They are making white Americans look like racists. Even the young who had nothing to do with racism, and there's not one black slave that's alive today or slave owner, and yet white Americans are made to feel that they're responsible for all the ills in the people of color communities, and it's not true. The unfortunate thing is that those parents who allow their children to be intimidated and to be made feel guilty is not showing love and protection for their children. They're on MTV. And until white Americans overcome the fear, Sean, of being called racist, things are only going to get worse for them and not better, because when you have fear, you bring out the worst in your enemy and not the best. And that's what we see happening here at some point. And especially white men, they got to stand up and say no more to this and start protecting their families and their communities and their country, because these people are not going to stop.
Let me ask Reverend Scott. Reverend Scott, I mean, if I believe in Jesus Christ, and by the way, all Christians are not perfect. I don't think I'm perfect. I think I'm forgiven.
Right.
Am I not a member? Can I not be a member of your Afrikan church?
Well, we say African, meaning for black people. Of course you couldn't be a member, Sean. If you had a white organization that was for Irish Americans, I would not even insult you by asking.
No, but this is about religious faith. I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God the Father, and that he came to earth and he suffered, died, and was buried to save all of humanity from our sins. And if we believe in him, then we can be saved. So is that your message at your church?
My message is that for 400 years.
I didn't ask you about 400 years. Do you say it's a Christian church? Is it a Christian church?
I didn't say it was a Christian church.
Oh, so you're not a Christian. Do you believe in Jesus or no?
Well, yes, I believe his name was Yeshua, and I believe he was black. But Jesus is a European word. You know that, Sean.
All right. But do you believe Jesus is the Son of God and came to save all humanity from sins?
Of course, but I also.
So if I believe that, I can't be your brother in Christ. Is that what you're saying?
Of course. I mean, you can be my brother.
So I can't go to your church, though.
You have to first.
I can't go to your church, though? Why wouldn't you welcome me to your church? Reverend Peterson, I've been to your church. I can go, right?
Any day, any time, anybody. Never mind the color, whether you're male or female. All people invited.
I've been to your headquarters, and I remember actually the prayer that went on in your headquarters, right?
Yeah, that's right. But, Sean, this church is not about spirituality. It's not about God. It's about promoting hatred between the races. They are no different than the KKK or the skinheads or the white racist groups like that. If we all know, those who do believe in Christ know that Christ came that we shall overcome the skin color and judge our fellow man by his heart and not his color.
Minister Scott, could Jesse Lee Peterson go to your church?
If he wants to meet me in the hood and come to the church, he's more than welcome.
Why can't I go to your church? Why can't I go to your church?
You can come to the hood, Sean. If you want
no, I asked you. I just asked you if I could go to your church. You told me no.
The church is in the hood.
Listen, I asked you if I could be a member of your church, and you said no.
No, you can't be a member because you're not African. If there was
I'm not African.
A European Jewish synagogue, I would not insult them by trying to be a member.
Wait a minute. Reverend Peterson's not African. Can he? So is he still invited, or is he going to be kept out too?
Well, let's be clear. We're trying to organize and
you're not answering my question. Can Reverend Peterson? He's black. Can he go to your church?
Question, Sean.
Do you have to be black or do you have to be African?
I'm answering your question, Sean. Under the red, black, and green flag, which is our flag, not the United States flag, not the Confederate flag, we are trying to unify all black people, people of African descent. And under that category, yes, Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, unfortunately, would fall in that category.
But I'm not an African. I am as black as the ace of spades. I grew up on a plantation. I was born there. But I am 100% American. No African drums beating in my chest. I don't. The American guitar is playing in my heart. I don't have an afro. I have an Amerifro. And I believe in Christ. And Christ was not about race or color. He was about the spirit. And why would you allow me in your church when you would not allow Sean? Is it simply because Sean is white?
I answered that.
I missed it. Is it simply because he's white?
Yes, I'll say it again. It's because...
Well, then you're a racist.
No, I cannot be racist. Black people cannot be racist because racism is... The only form of racism that exists on the planet Earth is white supremacy.
But see, you've been brainwashed. That's the brainwashing, Sean, that has taken place for the last 50 years or so.
You know, I want to tell you something, Reverend Peterson. Well, I think the untold story of what happened in the shooting of this church was, and I am not this good a person, I'm not that good a Christian, but I watched that community in Charleston come together and those families forgive this racist, bigoted, moron, violent human being. I don't think I have the capability of doing that. And I got to tell you something. I'd be honored to ever sit in that church. I thought that church was full of love. I watched the whole service, and I was honestly moved by that pastor that conducted that service.
Well, Sean, as bad as that situation was in South Carolina, it was definitely a bad situation. I have to disagree with you that you would not be able to forgive. Over the last 25 years, you've gone through pure hell from liberals who have done all they can do to destroy you, defame your name, take your job. And the only reason you survive is that you do forgive them. You speak up, but you don't hold it against them. And you have survived that, so I don't know.
You're very kind, but if you took a family member of mine, I'm not that good a Christian, Reverend. I admit I've got a ways to go. But I just want to get back to Reverend Scott. So you would not let me in your church. I could not be a member of your church. And you're claiming that no white people can be members of your church. That's
because
it?
It's African, Sean.
It's African.
It's
Sean, let me just add one thing here.
So we can't be. I don't know why we can't be.
Messianic Afrikan Nation.
I actually like what Reverend Martin Luther King said. You judge people by the content of their character, and I'd love to sit in prayer with Reverend Peterson, and I'm not looking at the color of his skin. I'm listening to his sermon.
But look, what Reverend Peterson is denying, and he's talking about, and you both are talking about all this forgiveness. Black people have forgiven slavery. We've forgiven Jim Crow.
Not true.
We've run out of forgiveness, and you can see that from the masses. Of course, you have the Reverend Jesse Lee.
So there's a limit on
running around. Yeah, of course there is. You have the Reverend Jesse Lee Petersons running around trying to forgive all white people. But if you look around right now.
Doesn't the Lord's Prayer say, "Forgive us as we forgive"?
Sean, you know we don't have enough time to go into a deep theological.
I'm asking, does the Lord's Prayer say that you believe in Jesus, you said? Does that prayer say, "Forgive us as we forgive"?
He was talking to his Hebrew brothers.
He also said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do," when they murdered him in cold blood.
Let me say this. When has America ever forgiven anybody for when they're attacked?
America has always...
When America is attacked,
sir, let me tell you when. Just think about this.
They demonize entire communities. They demonize everybody when they're attacked. But when it comes to black folks, we're supposed to sing, "We shall."
Let me tell you this, sir.
All right, Reverend Peterson, I'm gonna hold you guys over. Stay right there. We're gonna pick it up when we get back. We'll also get some phone calls in here. 800-941-SEAN. if you want to be a part of the program here.
Hannity Headline, a bite-sized version of the show that you can take with you everywhere you go. To sign up today for Hannity Headlines, go to Hannity.com.
All right, 25 now till the top of the hour. We continue our debate, discussion after this terrible beating in Cincinnati. A man beaten, white man, by a group of minorities, left on the ground to bleed, people laughing, nobody calling for help. Reverend Minister Paul Scott, founder of the Messianic Afrikan Nation Ministry, and the Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson of the group Bond, Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. And Minister Paul Scott said that I could not be a member of his church because I am white. You don't see that as racist in any way?
I don't see it as racist. I see it as being honest.
What do you mean being honest? You're honestly racist? Is that what you're saying?
I believe in race first, like the Honorable Marcus Garvey taught us.
Let me ask this. Do you think black people are superior to white people?
I don't think any man is superior, Sean. I think that white supremacy is taught for...
See, but I'll tell you what I'm taught as a Christian, because we're talking about, this through the prism of religion. I believe that God has created every man, woman, and child on this earth, and that God has placed within every man, woman, and child capacity for good, and if they choose it, to find a destiny that he has created for each individual. He's put inside them talents and abilities, and as part of our journey on this earth, that we are to find the talents he gave us. Every man, woman, and child, that's every race, every background, every creed can find it. Reverend Peterson, what do you believe?
100% you're right about that. I want to, before you went to break, he mentioned white people not a forgiving people. Think about it. This country was founded by white people, and they set up a constitution that welcomed all people, all races, men and women from around the world with open arms. And then this country has made amends for the mistakes it has made along the way. How forgiving can you be? And while at the same time they are being attacked, white people are being attacked and blamed for the downfall in the black community and so-called communities of colors, when it has nothing to do with white folks, but everything to do with the lack of family, the destruction of the family. But yet white Americans are being blamed for it. One other quick point. In America today, what blows my mind is that white people are under attack. They're being raped, they're being beat up, they're being killed, they're being robbed, and you barely hear news about it. It rarely does it make national news, and when it does, they don't call it hate crime. They make up some kind of excuses for it. And my concern, Sean, is if we don't start speaking the truth about racism on both sides of the fence, we're going to, and God forbid, but we're going to see more incidents like what we saw in South Carolina by that young white kid that killed those black people. That boy said he did it because he went to a website, he noticed that white people are being raped and robbed and killed, and no one is doing anything about it. And a lot of these young people don't have self-control. They're going to overreact to these type of situations. We're going to see more of it. We're going to have a race war on our hands then by both sides of, whites and blacks. And this is what Barack Obama and the government want. White people better start standing up in the right way before it's too late.
Reverend Peterson, with all due respect, you sound paranoid.
I am. Right now, it's a state of emergency.
You are paranoid, sir. I don't recall anybody, the majority of black people calling for a race war. Race war has always been called for by white Americans. Even Thomas Jefferson, back in the 17th century, he actually...
Well, how about when Louis Farrakhan said, we may need to start killing the masses?
In the 17th century, Thomas Jefferson even
Look, let's come back to today, Paul.
He said that the only way this country's problems could be solved would be by the extermination of one of both
Paul, you're talking about things that have passed.
Thomas Jefferson.
Let's talk about today. Louis Farrakhan said that we need to start killing the masters. What do you think about that? That's not calling for a race war?
I said the majority of black people are not calling for a race war.
Of course not.
It's the white skinheads.
The majority of black people are not calling, but enough are calling for that it is happening. This president has created an environment that has confirmed in the hearts and minds of a lot of young black people, especially, that white people are their problem, and that's why you're seeing these attacks upon white people. To me, that's a race war.
Well, that's
it's just perpetrated by black people, some black people.
That's to you.
All right, let me get to some phone calls here because a lot of people are standing by to get in. Our good friend Pastor Willie in Houston, Texas. Hey, Pastor, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
What's going on?
Wonderful. And just to put a point, you welcome to come to Houston. Matter of fact, I'm trying to build a new edifice, and so I welcome you to come down and participate in the worship.
You know what, Pastor? You just keep me in your prayers. Next time I'm down there, I'd be honored to go to your church. I appreciate the invite.
Thank you.
You know what? I really believe in my heart what I said. We're all children of God here, and you know what? That's just the bottom line for me.
The new Black Panther Party said the same thing, Sean. They call for a race war. So it is happening. Just because they're black, they're allowed to get away with it by the media, the liberal media. You don't hear the president say anything about it when new Black Panther Party or Louis Farrakhan and others are calling for race war. It's only when white people overreact that we hear something about it, and that's not good. The president should be for the people, not for one group of people and against the other. We have that happening in our country.
Are you saying that the murder of 9 innocent black people in that church in Charleston was just overreaction?
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
But the guy was angry. If you read his manifesto, he was angry about the unfairness of what's happening to his people, as he called it.
And that doctrine is going on for 100 years. So you're telling me, let me get this straight. You are telling me that the murder of 87-year-old women is somehow justified because he was just overreacting. Come on, man.
I'm not justifying any murders, but what I'm warning my country is that if we don't start being fair to white Americans and treat both people the same, we will have an all-out race war. If you check out my website at bondinfo.org, you can read some of the stories of how white people are being attacked every day. And Sean, you read off one about, I believe it's in Baltimore somewhere, where white man was knocked out, beat up, and Cincinnati, and no, it didn't make national news. Had it been the other way around, Obama would have said, if I had a son, he would look just like the black man on the ground. But nothing was said about this guy's situation.
You pick one incident out over the hundreds and thousands of incidents of black people being attacked, and you make that the main news. That is just an isolated incident.
It's not isolated. I'm telling you about that one, but the reason you don't know about it, and I believe that you don't know, because the liberal media is not reporting it. So when you do hear about these things, you don't believe that it's serious because you're not being told about it. You're only being told when it's a black on white situation.
Of white people attacking black people, as compared to the one or two stories you all drag up every now and then about black people attacking white people.
There is no comparison today.
That's my
white
point.
People are under attack 5 times more than what
Pastor Willie, let's let the pastor have the last word here. Pastor Willie.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean. Gentlemen, first and foremost, to either of you attacking each other over the issue of race, to me, certainly at this particular time has no merit in the fact that we have a problem. And I think that real quickly, Sean, and I know our time is limited, let me just say this. We've got to get beyond the ideology. We know that this country has a race problem, but to a degree. But we have come quite a long ways. And so I like to say, for one, I was a Vietnam vet, and I served as a race relation instructor while in the Army. So we know even the military came a long ways in helping to resolve the race relation issue.
You need to tell Obama that.
Well, here's the deal. The president, to be honest with you, I personally am disappointed with the president in a lot of areas in terms of things that he have initiated.
Do you agree he's a race hustler?
All right, all right. Let him finish his statement here. Go ahead.
No. Let me say, I disagree with the president on a lot of issues in some of the race baiting initiatives that he has done. He cannot, because he's black, president, in so to speak, but he has contributed to that, along with the fact of other issues beyond that, which I don't want to get into now about the recent issue that has been passed in our country. So the president has contributed to that. And he has to begin to understand that until he takes a different approach to this matter, this kind of discussion is going to go on.
Yeah.
And we can't be attacking our white brothers and sisters. Now, if one of you may disagree with me calling our white brothers and sisters, but that's what they are.
Yeah.
We have one blood. We have one blood of one man, and that's the theology of God. So you can't say, I love God, and then hate the brothers you see every day. So I think, brothers, we just need to change our course of action. We need to start talking about resolution.
Did I say I hated white people, sir? Pastor, did I say I hated white people at any point in this conversation? Did the word hate white people come out my mouth?
No, exactly. I'm not accusing you of saying it. I didn't know where you were.
Wait, but I'm glad Pastor Willie would let me go to his church. Pastor, you keep me in your prayers. God bless you, sir.
I will.
All right, A.J., Houston, Texas. Jump in, A.J. What's going on, big time?
Big time, Sean Hannity. Happy 4th to you, and hope you had a great one.
What's going on, my friend?
All this because Obama brought this to us. We were fine before he walked through the door. Yeah. Now, let me ask you, all this over a flag, what they did, what about they got killed, black children? Where's the outcry of that? I don't hear no black folks talking about the outcry of the killings in Chicago, the killings in Detroit. No, you don't get that kind of outcry going on. Now, I'm sick of the black folks running around here saying what this race is, that race, and letting Al Sharpton them tell them what the deal is and all that. And then this white guy get beat up by somebody. If that had been a black guy, oh boy, it would have been some trouble going on. See, we all God's people, like that man said, and doggone it, we got to stop, like people, Al and them, stop race hustling the black folks, and black folks got to get it in their head that this new era blacks, you wasn't under nobody's pressure. You got the world in the palm of your hand. Use it and get your pants off your butt and go and find a job and do something with your lives. Stop running around here. Every time I look at TV, I'm looking at them banging or beating up on somebody. The camera, and everybody want to run around and blame everybody else. Sean is getting to the point that, yes, they put a black guy in the White House, but that black man did not do what he came in there should have been doing to get the races together. We were better before him. The world was better before him. I'm sorry.
Let's get amen.
All right. Well, first of all, you're dealing with a generation. We don't follow Reverend Al Sharpton. We are not of the school of Dr. Martin Luther King. We are the school of Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey. So let's be clear on that. You all pick leaders such as Reverend Al Sharpton, and you brought.
Who do you mean by you all?
You, Sean, especially. You all pick all.
I don't pick leaders. I'm not in the business of picking any leaders.
In front of the world, and you do white America a disservice by showing the same black leaders on your radio show and your TV show.
Excuse me, I'm letting you on spew your racist rhetoric. I don't know what you're talking about.
What's happening on the show?
But Paul, why do you need a leader? You're a grown adult man. Why do you need a leader, Paul?
In this country, if I can finish, what is happening in this country, you're seeing a rise of what we like to say the intelligent thug. You are seeing a rise up of these young people who were raised up by the music of Public Enemy and Tupac Shakur. This is the leadership that conservatives don't want to talk about. This is the new leadership you're seeing in Ferguson. This is the new leadership you're seeing in Baltimore. Just because you don't see it on television or hear it on the radio does not mean it's not happening. Like Gil Scott-Heron said back in the 1970s, the revolution will not be televised.
All right, guys, we're going to have to end it there. Jesse Lee Peterson, thank you. And Paul Scott, I'll pray for you. How's that? Because I think it's a very distorted view on race. And I think the idea that you won't let people in the church because of the color of their skin's pretty racist. What's that? Go ahead. They'll give you the last word.
And if you want to, and the gentleman said that.
Are you going to invite me to your church?
No, I'll invite you to the hood, and we can have a conversation.
No, I asked you if I could go to your church.
My church is in the hood.
Are you inviting me to your church?
Sean, if you want to come to the hood in Durham, North Carolina,
can I be a member?
Welcome.
Can I be a member of your church? Yes or no?
Of course not.
Of course not. Then I'm not going. Okay. If you're not, I don't go where I'm not wanted. Quick break. Right back.